somebody that lives life, they carry everything about them in their presence. And so when you met like Dr. O'Brien, he sort of had a like success aura with, and it's not something that's verbalized, like something he can't like say, you know, over a near period of time, everything about his life. So when you meet somebody like that, you're actually meeting like the presence. You're actually like getting to experience and maybe even like activate that same level of success potential within your own spirit.
I think you bring up a really great point, Tone, because in Zen philosophy, I like to study in these sort of things, it's the transmission of no mind. So it's kind of like when you fall in love for the first time. You know, thousands of people of, potentials, if you say, walk by you. And you might walk down the same street a million times, or thousands of times anyways, at least. But this one time, this one person was in the coffee shop at the same time you were, and you bumped into each other, or something happened, and there was an energy recognition. Now, you don't know this person, you don't know where they come from, you don't know anything, but there is an instant recognition of, I need to interact with this person, and it flows. And that's what you're all about. I mean, you've mastered flow as much as anybody I know. I mean, you are the Floreal. There's no question about it. I mean, if you get to hang around in Tone's vibe, there's a smoothness and a flowingness that's really hard to explain unless you spend a few days with them. And I know we always have a great time when we do that.
Definitely.
Right? We just flow.
One of the other things too is the glow, right? So like that's what is talked about in terms of like real attraction, and it's not even something that's verbalized, but like who the person is or has become has sort of shined forth. So that's where the glow with the flow comes in, right?
Right,
so,
that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Glow with the flow. It's true. There should be a glow with the flow. Because there's lots of times you'll hear something or see something that looks good or sounds good, but doesn't feel quite right. It doesn't have that glow, if you will. Or something's not flowing within it, right? And of course, not to put it down, but I think that is the mastery of what Hollywood has created in the world. They've manufactured an illusion, the lighting, the camera, the photoshopping, the videos, the cutting the lines, the sequentializing the sequences. Like, think about the average commercial or movie that you're getting. They're filming thousands and thousands and thousands of hours in cutting and editing. It's like building a whole army in a war to put this 2-hour movie together, costing millions of dollars. And creates such a sparkle to it, but we all know there's a certain level of artificiality to it. And when you get inside that world, I mean, it's like, oh no. I'm not saying that all Hollywood's bad or that sort of thing, but I think you're kind of getting the concept of what we're talking about. And so for me, as much success as I had as an athlete, and I'm proud of my athletic accomplishments, and I really enjoyed the process. I loved competing. I loved the process of training. I loved all that standpoint. My real love, my real call, if you will, my dharma, whatever it was helping others realize that in themselves, helping others, navigate through the minefields of what's in the health and wellness industry. I basically made all the mistakes you can make. Learned all the school of hard knocks. I did remedial school on that, I think, a few times.
Yeah.
And now I see people who don't have the time, effort, and money to invest that I did, because I've literally invested my whole life in this field. All my time, all my effort, and all my money has gone into this whole mystery of how you create this vibrancy, how you experience aliveness. And I know we both share that passion, and there's a lot of levels to it, and there's a whole thing. And so how do you navigate through it? And that's what my book's about, that's what I talk about, that's my teaching's about. That's what my products even serve, that philosophy. I manufacture products, but I always say you need to get the philosophy first. You don't just randomly shotgun things. and which is where most of us do. Oh, I'm going to take this pill and get this result. No, it doesn't work like that. You've got to, how does this product, service, technology, person, experience fit within a philosophy that works in my life? And so that's what, I advocate, and that's what we both live. We live a philosophy. It's a way, it's a style of living. It's a way of being. And it's emerging, I think, more today than it has been before, which is really cool. But there's also more pitfalls, if you will, pull you out of it, right?
Right. Yeah, so Wade talks about a certain lifestyle that you live, a certain way of being. And I think I don't know. It's just something that he talks about that comes from his own experience of sort of having health challenges, even though you were an elite athlete, and then rebuilding yourself, meeting people that have had success in that. And I think what I really wanted to say was you have this sort of love. Your love is about educating people and embodying like health and wellness and vitality. So this is what's successful for you, is this is what gets you out of bed every morning, to that higher vision and being able to kind of blaze the path, so to speak, for other people to see an example and be guided by your embodiment of spirit, so, and the love. So you have a couple of books that you've written that sort of educates people. And one thing that I really like is that he's made it real simple with the AWESOME acronym. So if you can just tell us real quickly, like, what the AWESOME acronym stands for.
Yeah, I think everybody loves acronyms because it's a great way to jog our memories and remember things. And so as I went on this thing, I was always looking at how do I get an acronym to fit the principles that I advocate, and teach a philosophy around that you can remember and integrate on a daily basis without really thinking that much about it. And it turned out it came out as awesome, which I love because I love the word awesome. And when you say awesome, you can't help but feel, you can't go, awesome, man. Even if you do awesome, it still kind of feels good, right? Or you can do awesome, right? Like, Tony Robbins style, you can do awesome, right? Or you can shout awesome, you can feel awesome. It's a great description. It's a positive description. It's something that's over with everybody. And what I advocate in my teachings and my books and my everything else is the AWESOME formula, which is very simple. It's an acronym for the sequential sequence of things that you can integrate into your life. So the first one is air. Air is huge, right? That's what A stands for. Air, oxygen. We breathe. We need to do this. This is an important part. There's a variety of breathing techniques and practices that we advocate. This has been going on for thousands of years. I think there's something to this. And it's the first thing you do when you get on the planet. It's the last thing that you do. So breathing is a very critical factor in a health profile. If you want to know. The funny thing is most people don't know how to do that. And we go, what do you mean I don't know how to do it? Well, you're getting, 30% of the oxygen you could be? That means 30% of the energy that you could be. So you can invest 20, 30 minutes in an education and start inputting that a few minutes every day and radically shift the amount of energy and vitality you have. So awesome. Air. It doesn't cost you anything. It's the most cost-effective health program there is. And the funny thing is most people don't charge enough for it. If we charge people hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe it'd be interesting. We had a big machine or something like that. That'd be great. Two, the second part of the AWESOME formula is water. Water. Water is not just water. I did this DVD, and it says, most people think all water is the same. It's not. That's where I was. I can imagine this. I studied water for my whole life, and then about 2.5 years ago, got my mind blown when I watched a film with all the top water researchers in the world, and they said the structure of your water is more important than the chemical compounds. Coming from the greatest minds in the world that's ever studied water, I'm like, what? With the greatest technology, and they're telling me that water isn't just water? So I was like, whoa, I gotta get on this. I gotta learn more about it, and I did, and I'm so thankful that it is. So learning that water from your tap, water from your bottle, water from variety of different machines that are on the market, or reverse osmosis systems, all up to Japanese water ionizers. There's a big range of what goes into your body, and that has a profound effect on your health. on your vitality, on your energy, even I believe on your consciousness.